one of the main aspects of what you do this evening is now say it with me, networking, right?
Networking.
Okay. You're talking with people. Jeremy has beat you basically over the head to say, talk with 6 other people before you walk out of here. Not just pass your business card and all that fun stuff, but actually have a meaningful conversation. Learn about the other person. To kind of give you the preface and the context, social media is very similar in my opinion. The only difference between what we are doing here physically in real life and what we do in social media is we have a device that separates us. So perhaps after this meeting we'll be connected on Facebook. It is my sincere hope that if we talk tonight or you've heard what I'm saying here and we connect on Facebook, it's my sincere hope that what you see online is exactly what you've seen here in person. And I think that's exactly how social media needs to be approached. I think that's the context within which to come at this. So I am truly flattered because last time Jeremy had me in here, and I think that's a huge thing, it was made very clear to me I don't like realtors, number one. And number two, we've never had a realtor come in and talk.
Ever.
Wow, I was really honored with that, and now he's asking me back again. So please, with that context about social media, understand where I'm coming from. What you see here, I sincerely hope, is what you see online. Those of us that are connected, am I at least that way in person and online as well so far?
Very much so.
All right, I'm just making sure. So let me give you a quick backstory. 10 years in real estate. I come to real estate from a background in political hackery. I was a campaign guy. I gave up my life of crime, and I thought I was actually coming up the scale of respectability from political hacking to real estate agent. Okay,
Oops.
so anyway, that didn't work out terribly well, but what I noticed was my clients needed the right stuff. They needed good information. There's a whole bunch of information out there. I said it last time, I'll say it again. Algorithm, that's the internet comes to real estate, Katie bar the door, the information's out there. The consumer is now extremely educated. I talk with people on a daily basis, buyers and sellers, that they know more about their specific home and the values in their area than ever before. They don't necessarily know the finer points, and that's okay. But my job or my role as a real estate agent is no longer the keeper of the information. I can't do this. I never did this in the first place, but my industry did this, where we held it just like this. And you had to give me something before I gave you what you wanted. I'm a data miner and prospector. I help people then analyze the data that I've pointed them to. I give them the good information. So 10 years ago I got into this. I realized that clients needed the best. They needed a good analyst. They needed somebody to point them to the good information. They also needed somebody who could make the transaction as smooth as possible. Kind of difficult to do these days, let me tell you. I began blogging. I had to do some research on this one. I found my first blog post was March of 2006. Good Lord, was that a rough blog post. Okay. But what I noticed in looking at that again is it held true to what I'm doing right now. Okay, yeah, the words sucked and the formatting was terrible, but the aim was there. There was one problem that I saw in getting involved with people trying to buy and sell real estate. They were going to have the same questions over and over and over again. If I talked with you, and then I talked with you, and then I talked with you, I'm going to have the same questions. I do this, 24, 30 times a year. You do this what? Maybe 2 or 3, well, not this group, but my clients do this maybe 2 or 3 times their entire life. How can I create a cache, if you will, of my knowledge where people can be referenced to or find on their own? That's what got me into blogging. That's why I started going down that path. June 5th, 2007, I signed up to Facebook shortly after it became available to non-students. Twitter, February 4th, 2008. The reason I got involved in Facebook and Twitter is I looked at my blog and I said, this isn't a bad thing, but I've got 3 problems as a real estate agent who's got good information and needs to get it into the hands of his potential clients. Again, this is all context. We'll get into Google and Pinterest and all that fun stuff, but you have to understand the context of why. Why do we do this? Why do I do this? The 3 problems that I saw were, how do I get the knowledge in my head into somebody else's head so that they see the value that I can bring to their real estate transaction, to accomplishing their goals? And along with that, how can I archive that information for later usage, right? Problem number 2, how to not be, that guy. Again, I came out of politics and real estate. I know what that guy kind of looks like, and I don't want to be that guy. Yeah. Problem number 3, how to reach as many people as possible. So I think the first 2 are pretty easily solved. Problem number one, how do I get the information out of my head and into somebody else's? Well, a blog seems natural for me. I can write the information, or I can do a video blog and attach that to the blog post and push that out all over the place. Problem number one isn't that big of a problem in my mind. Problem two, I'm not that guy. Number three, how do I reach as many people as possible? That's where Twitter and Facebook came in. If you think about your online footprint as a giant wheel, you've got a hub and you've got a bunch of spokes. Consider the hub your blog, your main home online, and then look at things like Google+, Pinterest, Facebook, Twitter as spokes, as channels for traffic to your blog, to your online home. So that's why I got involved with Facebook and Twitter. They allowed me to connect with old high school friends, current clients, past clients, potential clients, realtors across the country. It gave me a channel to pull people out of the ether, if you will, off Al Gore's internet, and channel them across my blog. Because I knew that if I got enough people across my blog where there was good information, people would say, that's good information. Maybe we should contact this guy. He kind of seems to know what the heck he's doing. And oddly enough, it seems to work. I think in the bio that Jamie posted for tonight, it made reference to about 79.2% of my business in 2011 came about as a result of social media. I feel I have to qualify that just a little bit. They did come 79.2% off social media. But again, I've been in business for 10 years. I've got a book of business, but I have some extremely vocal friends in the social media space. So that when they see or hear someone breathe real estate, just go talk with Todd. He'll take care of you, and what ends up happening is when they make that reference to somebody online, that person does their research. When I started working with people that had been referred to me by other friends online, the people that were referred to me had already read up on me, they'd seen where I'd done business, they could see my thoughts on today's market, they could see my thoughts on the market 3 years ago. And so the conversation inevitably was, wow, you were right, and you were horribly wrong on this. It's a great way to have a conversation, either via phone or email, to begin working with somebody. So, yes, 79.2% of the business did come about as some involvement within social media, but the qualifier is I've got a book of business with people that are active in that space as well. All right, that's the context for my involvement in social media, the why, if you will. And I am happy at this stage of the game. What I want to do is let you know, as we go through Google Plus specifically and Pinterest, don't hesitate to raise your hand and harass me. Throw a question at me. I'm happy to answer these questions. So if something sparks in your mind and I'm on my own stream of consciousness, stop me. Let me know what I can answer for you. Because again, the benefit here is not for me, it's for you. How can I assist, or what kind of knowledge can I pass along to you guys to help with what you're doing? Understand the context again, real estate agent, and this is how I've used these things to kind of help and foster what it is that I'm doing. Google Plus. How many of you have tinkered with Google Plus yet?
A little bit.
Just a few. Okay. All right. The rest of you, have you heard about Google Plus?
Yeah.
Okay. Just haven't tinkered with it. The first reason that Google Plus is actually relevant is because it's got that G word in front of it, Google. Google's responsible. Yeah.
What is Google Plus?
Pardon me. Google Plus is a social network that Google has built. So as Jeremy pointed out, it's very similar to Facebook in the sense that you have yourself a profile, you fill it out, and then you start connecting with people. Very similar to Facebook, you can share your thoughts of the day, your status update, if you will. You find a funny video about a cat, you can share it very easily through there. Maybe you run across a great article on Seeking Alpha about mortgage rates. Share that out there. It's a great place. It's almost like a micro blog where it is very easy to start a conversation, and the conversation just cascades. I've seen multiple threads start off of one share, and you'll get 50 to 75 people jumping in on the topic. The reason Google Plus is relevant is because of that big G word in front of the plus, Google. What's Google's stated goal? Their stated goal is to organize the world's information. So where Facebook is a walled garden, if you will, where you come into their proprietary arena and tinker and play, a lot of their information doesn't actually leach out into the search engines. Some of it does, and they're getting better at it, but they came at it from a social aspect initially. We want to connect you to your friends and people with similar interests. Google has come at the social media game in an entirely different way. Their bent is information. We want to organize the world's information, so we're going to create this social network you'll go ahead and share your stuff, but as Google, we're going to stare at who you're connected with. Recently, when you guys have gone onto Google, have you noticed that some of the stuff when you search has your social connections recommendations across the top?
Yeah.
This is huge. Let me ask you something. If you have, if you're looking for a service provider and you're looking for a recommendation on a service provider, and the internet hasn't existed yet, or Al Gore didn't make it, who do you turn to typically for a recommendation on a service provider?
Friend.
You go to your friends, your family, trusted advisors, trusted people in your life. That's exactly what Google is trying to do. Google is looking at your social graph, the people that you're connected to, and they're looking at your search query, and they're trying to say, okay, well Todd Waller looked for an electrician in Plymouth, Michigan. Who in Todd's social graph has commented about an electrician recently? Those recommendations are starting to trickle to the top of the search because Google understands we like to do or take recommendations from those people that we trust. The assumption that Google is making is that the people we're connected to we actually trust. There's a little disjunct there. But some people would say it's kind of Big Brother-ish. I'd say, yeah, you're probably not too far off, but at the same time, isn't that what we do in real life? And so now we're just mirroring online what we do in real life. Back to Google+. Somebody shares a web page about an electrician, and I'm connected to them. I now have that person's weight, their social authority, if you will, behind that recommendation on that URL, that web address for that electrician. So when I go to search, go figure what's going to hop right up there. So I look at Google Plus and I say, if you are in any kind of business that relies at any point on some kind of exposure online, I think Google Plus is a place that you need to consider heavily.
That's everybody, by the way.
Just saying.
Unless you're in the frickin' yellow pages.
So, the notes that I scribbled down here, I think it's a no-brainer. Google's moving to a more socially influenced search results. Again, we just talked about how they're elevating recommendations that people give for you. Yep. Digitally created content. There it is.
Hey, hold on, Todd. Can I interrupt?
Sir.
So I just want to smack him in the head with a frying pan.
Yes,
I don't know if you caught that. Facebook is closed, meaning if somebody opens either Bing or Google or any number of search engines and types in Detroit real estate investments, anything or the vast majority of what you post on Facebook does not show up. Everything that you choose to on Google Plus shows up.
Correct. That's
what Todd told me 2 months ago that made me go, crap, I got to make time for another social network. So that just to make sure you get that. Facebook is closed. Google Plus is, I mean, it's a huge. It's just two different strategies.
What's the question again?
Why is it closed, you're saying?
Yeah.
Because Facebook came at it from a social aspect. They were not looking to organize the data. They were looking to create a business, quite frankly, that was internal. It was a walled garden, and they themselves, Facebook, could monetize the information that they had within their walls. Google comes at it from an entirely separate direction and says, we don't necessarily care about the social aspect. We do, but we're more intrigued about the information. So coming from an information mindset, Google is much more open about what it is they're trying to do, but they're also much more open about how they go about trying to grab your information and use it. Does that make sense?
Also, Google's now forcing everybody who has a Gmail account or a Google Mail account to have at least open a Google Plus account. So you have, you don't necessarily, that when they did that, that was like, Todd was telling me that, it was like, that's really a kicker too, because Facebook and Twitter require adoption.
Yeah.
I mean, how many hundreds of millions of people in this world, probably billions, have Google, and even professional ones now too, have Google email accounts. Now, all of them have Google Plus accounts.
That is absolutely correct.
If you have a Droid phone, you gotta have a Gmail.
Google Plus, yep, that's correct. You can, let's put it this way, it's much easier to do that. I have a Google Apps for my domain, for my personal email address, and I can create a Google Plus account with that, but it is, it's kind of hobbled, because I have a Gmail account, but I also have a Google Apps for my domain, and I can't get the two of them to connect yet. So.
That's good, because I didn't understand half of what you just said.
Yeah. Yep.
And let me preface this too. the last thing I want you to hear from me is you must, you must, you must. No, you don't have to do anything.
Don't do it.
Believe me, this is overwhelming to those of us that kind of swim in the social media realms. And again, do I need another network with which to maintain? Oh, heck no. But if you're going to go down this path, and if you're going to have a business that relies at some point on stuff that's online, you got to be aware of these things, so that the time that you do have, you're focusing it correctly to have the biggest impact for what it is that you're trying to accomplish.
Oddly, when we were talking, Todd, sorry to keep interrupting, but I really wanted you to tell me that Google Plus was a waste of frickin' time, and you really disappointed me. Strangely, it actually would probably make more sense to spend more time on Google Plus than it would on Facebook.
Well, and here's the added benefit to that statement, Jeremy, which is why when I told you, what was it, a month and a half ago or so, 2 months ago, that I needed to up my ante on Google Plus. Again, if you create content digitally online, a couple of tweaks here, there, and the other place, and what you can do is actually have your content in the search engine start popping with your pretty face right next to that content. So if you were to go home, or right now on your devices, search for Plymouth, Michigan homes for sale, Plymouth MI homes for sale, or Plymouth MI homes, you'll see some of my digitally created content sitting there, blog posts, that kind of thing. The blog posts specifically that pop up in the organic searches on Google now have my smiling mug next to it.
And I'm trying to decipher how you're getting that done rather than just, I'm at square one here, but in Google Plus,
Yeah.
are you sort of designating that information is searchable? You know what I'm saying? So you obviously have some private stuff between you and your family or whatever. That,
Sure. Yeah.
Right?
No, you're absolutely correct. And we're talking about two different systems, but they have to be integrated. In my mind, they have to be integrated. The first system is Google Plus. Yes, you can create your authority there with the people that you're connected with and show that you know real estate. You know it really well. Here are some key pieces and all that fun stuff. In addition to having that, I'm saying that in addition to that, you need to be able to connect your digitally created content to that account, that Google Plus account. Because when your smiling face pops next to that blog post and somebody clicks on your face, it takes them to your Google Plus account. So just as it's my hope and desire that what you see here in person is what you see online, you do not want to disconnect between this awesome blog post and a ghost town for a Google profile. It's just that simple. Because you're it's like walking into a house where the photos are absolutely beautiful and you walk through like, Jesus Pete, there's a hole in the wall and the copper plumbing is gone. You want to make things contiguous, consistent.
if you were going to rate the time that you're spending on, if you have a website, you have your social media between Google Plus and your Facebook, where would you rate them 1, 2, and 3 now? Whereas 3 years ago, you're on your website.
That's a tough question. That's a tough question.
What was that, Jeremy?
That's a tough question, man.
It is. You know why it's a tough question? Because this thing's with me constantly. So I can be out showing homes, or I could be, taking a listing appointment. If I find something that I really like in a house, again, if we get connected, you'll see I like to take photos. I love taking photos, and I like taking photos of really neat homes that have really neat architectural details to them. Daniel's bouncing his head back and forth over there.
I love those pictures that you're posting of some of those really interesting homes in Plymouth.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Well, some of the shadows and the colors and the geometric shapes of the people who built the houses, they put a heck of a lot of work into that. And I love seeing it, because I love seeing that kind of workmanship and craftsmanship and care that went into the construction of the houses.
And I really appreciate hearing that, because that's a similar response. And I can't do that. I can't put a time to that, because that's me driving around going, I like that house. It's sunny. I'm going to hop out and snap that photo. So if I had to put actual time on it, you know, there's going to be hours in a day that's devoted to it, but is it going to be sit down and work at it for hours on end? No, it's not. It's going to be, you know, 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there, that kind of thing.
But I think the last time you were in, we had a conversation of, and Jeremy piped in with, you know, now Google was looking for, and I can't remember the exact conversation, but you were like, now I've got to add more to my blog posts or
Yep.
articles, because now Google isn't just that you're blogging, but Google's taking, well, Jeremy Burgess wrote an article. So they're taking that into account and how far up you're moving on your Google search.
You're talking about static versus dynamic websites, and,
Yep.
and Google did make that change.
Oh, yeah.
Meaning, if you just had your one page, you know, hey,
Right.
welcome, this is what I do, and that's all that ever happened. Now you're dropping in the search ratings, and the people who are constantly updating their content, provided it's relevant, is going up. This is a little different than that. This is using social media to where people naturally want to hang out to drive traffic back to your site.
That actually brings up a question that I was going to get to here about search engine optimization. Again, the big player in SEO, search engine optimization, the reason you do it is for the almighty Google. Google just runs a whole bunch of searches, and they're the ones where a bulk of your traffic will most likely come from. Yes, sir.
I'm sorry. Can you? We have two people in this room.
Understood.
Super high tech, no tech.
Yep.
Explain search engine optimization and importance.
Thank you. Yep, and that's where we're going. Search engine optimization is the optimizing of your website, your digital footprint for the search engines. It is going through and making sure that you have dotted your I's and crossed your T's. Meaning, if you upload a picture to your website, you've got the correct tags on it. You've got the correct alternate naming and all that fun stuff on there. The reason that this is important, it's not that it's a giant mountain that you've created, they're little pebbles. And they're little pebbles of authority that when Google crawls your website, it looks at it and says, holy smokes, this person knows, for example, Redford Real Estate. Look at all the images that are tagged Redford Real Estate. Look at all the blog posts that are tagged Redford Real Estate that have images in them that say Redford Real Estate. So you're taking little itty bitty pebbles, if you will, on the creation of your website, both blog posts and any media that you attach to it, and you're telling Google, I got it. I have the data, I have the mining data right here that's good when it comes to Redford Real Estate, for example. Does that make sense for the folks wondering what SEO is, search engine optimization? Okay. The reason that's important is the better you are at search engine optimization, the better you are at telling the search engines that your site is bee's knees for Redford Real Estate. When somebody searches for Redford Real Estate, who's going to come up first or close to the top? The one who's done a better job on SEO, search engine optimization of their website. So,
Todd,
yes, sir?
I have steadfastly
Yeah.
put my feet on this whole website thing,
I understand.
and I still don't have one.
I understand.
Now, with all of what's going on in the world today, do I need a website?
How long do you want to be in business?
What do you want to do? How long do I want to be in business? More than 24 hours.
Question for a question.
Well, I can't tell you absolutely positively need it. By way of story, I'll try to answer your question. I years ago was a part of a training group for real estate agents, and the trainer was an old school realtor. He wasn't an active realtor anymore, but he was an old school guy. I mean, he was belly to belly, nose to nose, man, grind it out. He taught you all the I hate to use the word, but the tricks. He taught you this is how you go after this. And there was one part of me that was very grateful to be a part of it, because now I learned what the other agents were trying to do. The other part that really bugged me is that's what other agents were doing to their clients. And I really had a disconnect with that. I was that goofball though that walked into it and said, wait a minute, just as I told you guys, what we're doing here networking is no different than what we do through those monitors. And so I started implementing what he was suggesting, is reaching out to people, being a trusted advisor, and implemented that online. That's not to say that the old school ways will ever stop working. They won't. Their effectiveness will simply decrease over time if you're not expanding into another realm. So to answer that question more directly, it truly does depend how long do you want to be in business. You can certainly survive without it. I'm never going to say that you can't. But if you want to have a legacy or something that will be passed on to the next generation coming up, so to speak, if you want to hand over a book of business, it's probably in your best interest to have a digital asset there that complements your book of business as it currently exists.
All right. Follow-on question, and then you can have it.
Okay.
Where should I create this website?
Jeremy's got the answer. Well, okay, I'll answer before him then. There are two options that I would recommend right off the top. If you want to put your toe in the water and kind of get a feel for should I or shouldn't I, WordPress.com.
Okay.
WordPress.com is a free service. You give them a little bit of information. You can set up a blog within probably 10 minutes and start banging away your thoughts. Not a bad way to enter into the whole thing. You're only out your time invested. If you want to go a little bit further, maybe walk in up to your waist, so to speak, you go to WordPress.org. WordPress.org will allow you to download their software, their WordPress software, the blogging software, and then you can install that on a server. So you'd have to actually go out and buy a domain name, you'd have to buy hosting for that domain, and do all that fun stuff. So my suggestion, WordPress.com, and then if you get really comfortable with that and you want to expand, I'd go to WordPress.org, buy your domain name, buy some hosting, and then go that route. The reason for that, WordPress right out of the box is very well optimized for the search engines. It's very easy to tinker with, set up, and get rolling, and the add-ins, the plugins, the extensions, they just make it that much stronger an option for not just a website, not just a blog, but even a content management system. Heck, you can set up an e-commerce store on the darn thing.
Now, if I go out and I create something on WordPress.com,
Yeah.
and then I decide that I want to go to the next step and go to WordPress.org, whatever I've done on WordPress.com could be migrated
Yes.
over. Okay.
Very easily.
John, it's all yours.
Thank you. What I've been hearing
Yes.
lately is that it's almost more important now to have a mobile website. That people are finding you on their smartphones.
Sure.
How do you feel about that?
I'm not going to disagree, but I will tell you this, and please don't hear me as patting my own back or tooting my own horn. I've been in front of the consumers technologically for a period of time. The adoption's there, but it's still a few years away. So we are walking around with much more in the way of mobile technology. What's going to shatter that quickly are the tablets. The 3G and 4G tablets that are wandering around. Somebody cannot, at least in my business, somebody could theoretically walk up to 123 Main Street and go, oh, let's hit the GPS on whatever. Hey, look at that! This house is for sale. So it's becoming more important. Is it something that absolutely positively needs to be done now? It's better now than later if you're starting from square one, because now you can set it up to expand correctly, if you will, down the road. So as you see these things become ubiquitous, as smartphones become more not anticipated, but adopted, you're going to see a lot more of that.
Okay.
And quite frankly, WordPress, again, they see it coming, and again, it's another reason to go with them. They already, right out of the box, look great on a cell phone, on a tablet, or something along those lines. It takes just a little bit of extra tweaking to make it look absolutely gorgeous.
Gotta get my 2 cents in.
Yes, sir.
Tumblr.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you can skip that web hosting, buy a domain name, they'll do it.
Yep.
It has the added benefit of already being social. It is crazy addictive. It's like a combination of your blog, Facebook, and Twitter all together with a little bit of Pinterest
Yep.
mixed in. And WordPress and Tumblr come mobile ready. Tumblr especially.
And this is why people, even thinking about getting into the social game or getting in online, get absolutely overwhelmed immediately.
Yeah.
There are so many platforms that you can be on. Blog, Twitch, blog.
I would like to point out,
There is a new service coming out.
Yeah.
It's a combination of Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube.
I love
Called
YouTube.
Face.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's me. Oh, I do want to point out, I was checking my traffic. Last year, 15% of my traffic came from mobile. So far this year, 48% of my traffic has come from a mobile device.
And that's because I think
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's actually
So,
good information to know.
Yeah,
There's your answer for mobile.
you know, depending on the age bracket and your business you're in, I mean, The over 50s are probably not going to adopt it very readily. The 20, 30 something already have, and then there's that in between. But it's something you should be thinking about in the next couple of years. But Todd brought up a good point. There's a lot of information out there. I would recommend just pick something and do it.
Yep.
Because something is better than nothing, and you don't really do it wrong. WordPress is great. Tumblr's great. You know, I'll shut up.
How do you find somebody to just do this crap for you?
So,
Wrong answer.
yeah, and actually the wrong guy to ask, because I am ardently against outsourcing my personality.
Amen, brother.
I am who you see, and again, I really hope online this is who you see as well. So, you'll be my personality. There's also been a couple of instances where the person who was the online face for an entity or a person kind of went off the reservation. Yeah, the Ghost Rider is a movie.
Well, you know.
And if you do that, make sure you change your passwords as soon as you fire them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay, so we covered the walled garden. We beat, Google Plus. There are two other huge items to take into account with an involvement in Google Plus. There's one, and this is a good survey. How many of you work with folks that don't live within an hour drive of where you? Oh, there's a few of you. Oh, okay. Well, would video conferencing be an idea that would be great to share ideas? They have a thing called Hangout on Google Plus. Not only can you video conference you and I, we can have up to like 5 people in a conference, a video conference. It's huge, and it's an absolute riot. So again, a couple weeks ago, was on a hangout with a bunch of realtors across the country. We got people out on the West Coast, you got people out on the East Coast. We had somebody in Australia joining us. We were just doing it for grins because we thought it would be a riot to connect personalities and voices and faces, but it dawned on us all at about the same time. I don't deal with clients that are only in the U.S. or only in Michigan. This is a great way for me to connect, get my personality in front of folks, make that trust and that authenticity connection through that channel. So I think that's a huge benefit of being a part of Google Plus. Never mind the search engine stuff. The true benefit, however, and I'm going to hammer it home because it is the big one, the real benefit is the relevancy weight that Google attaches to your content as gauged by the sharing and one-plussing or the plus-oneing of your content. I'm sure you've seen websites that have the Twitter button and the like button from Facebook. Now you're going to see the Google Plus button. That's their like, if you will. Again, if your content gets just a scad of pluses onto it, Google sees that as an authority on the topic that you have written, or video blog or something along those lines. So again, you don't have to get involved in Google Plus. It's just highly recommended in some manner. I would also say that the more you're involved in it, the more you establish your authority there, the greater your chances of getting your content elevating for your keywords in search engines, specifically Google. Who's tinkered with Pinterest whose name is not Jeremy? Oh, I'm sorry, Brian, go right ahead.
Is it made anything not relevant anymore?
It's made it not relevant. I don't understand the question.
Like, is Google Plus made something irrelevant? That shouldn't even
Oh,
Friendster.
Friendster, FriendFeed, Google Wave.
Here.
No, that's a good
The old
question.
PageRank 1 to 10.
Well, they killed killed PageRank quite a while ago.
Did they?
actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm kind of on it.
And what you'll hear every now and again, if you've got your ear to the search engine people, you'll hear every now and again that Google changes the algorithm. Man, there's always a bunch of carping about, well, Google changed the algorithm and now our link farm is tanking. A link farm is simply a website whose sole purpose is to pass out authority to the links that are on its page. Google says, we know what you're doing, you're gaming the system, so get out of here. They want authentic content that's original, that can be verified, that an individual can read. Again, why Google wants to push people into the Google Plus social network. All right, so we had one other person, not named Jeremy, who's played with Pinterest.
I signed up.
You've signed up? You haven't tasted it? Okay. What are your thoughts?
Well, I haven't done real estate stuff on there yet because
That's okay.
I didn't know, but I've, looked at other things, recipes and photography and architecture and, so yeah, I mean, one thing leads you to another and you're just like overwhelmed.
Is
like,
it hopelessly
oh my God.
addictive though, right?
Yeah, like you just
Oh
gotta
God,
get out.
so
So I've been
good.
trying to stay away because it is one more thing that you can get like sucked into.
So I don't have to turn in my man card if I start looking at Pinterest?
I already
It's
did,
okay
man. It's
to admit.
okay.
It's okay.
I tinker with Pinterest. I'll tell you that right up front.
Alright.
And
Give
the
it-
reason I tinker with Pinterest is traffic. Number one, traffic. If I have something on one of my domains that is on Pinterest, it's been pinned. It's going to be an image. When it gets pinned, it has a link right back to that image on my website. That might be valuable, I think, because the whole conversation about search engine optimization is not just authority, it's also how many eyeballs are rolling across your blog, or rolling across your domain. Google takes that into account as well.
Pinterest is, what is Pinterest?
Thank you. My apologies. Pinterest is it's a website that allows you to upload, share images, and you can collect the images into what are called boards. Change the name of the board. So I've got a few that, like, one's architecture, one's design, one's Michigan, another one's like real estate, another one's Detroit real estate. And what I do with my boards is I surf the net, I find stuff that I kind of like that intrigues me, catches my eye, and I'll pin it to the appropriate board. What'll end up happening is if that image comes from somebody else's website and I pin it, typically what ends up happening is that darn thing gets shared 20, 30 times. There's 20 or 30 other people that said, hey, we like this, and they reshare it on their own boards. Now that is 21 to 31 instances of that link that point back to that particular website. Does that answer kind of the, okay?
Can you give an example of that? Like, what have you pinned to
Gotcha.
get?
So Daniel referenced some of the photos that I've taken. Not only do a lot of those photos show up on my Facebook stream, but the ones that I really enjoy, I actually throw onto my real estate website. My aim, again, with my real estate website is not to come off as, hey, work with me, it's to highlight the city that I work in. I love Plymouth Homes. So I've got 3 different pages on my blog that have images. One of them is mostly of buildings and homes, and it's a nice gallery that just kind of rotates the order when you come to it. There's another one that's home details. I'll find tile or cornices or maybe some kind of accent that really sets off a home that's really different. I've never seen it before. That page will have that kind of stuff. And another one is just flat out light fixtures. I love taking pictures of light fixtures. I'll come up right underneath them or on the side and tinker with them. So what I'll do is if I find a really cool light or a really cool chandelier, take the photo and I will tinker with it. It'll get posted to Facebook. When I finally get in front of my laptop, I upload it to my website. I put it in that collection on that page. I then go into I've got a little pin button on that page. Click it, and I choose the photo that I just put up there. And I add it to my Detroit real estate board. There are 300 people, 350 people following me and there for that board. So as soon as it gets posted to my Detroit real estate board, that image theoretically shows up in front of 300 different accounts. About 25 to 30 people typically end up either liking it or repinning the darn thing. So again, there are 30 or so people, 25 to 30 people that have said, not only do we like this, we're going to reshare it. There's 25 to 30 more links back to that one image on that page on my blog. So if you look at my traffic from my blog, before Pinterest it was kind of like this, and then Pinterest it did that. Because people were seeing the image going, well, I wonder if there's anything else that's kind of sexy at that website. And they pop on over and take a gander at it. So the play, if you will, with Pinterest, at least as I see it, is traffic. You want eyeballs across what it is that you're doing, throw an image on your website, pin that image over there on Pinterest, and you're going to start seeing eyeballs traveling across your website. Again, I don't think it's a bad thing because Google with the search engine says more traffic is good, and if we've got, in addition to the Pinterest pin hanging around up there, but you've also got the Facebook like and the Twitter share button up there, now you're adding another little pebble to your mountain of credibility about, okay, my website, Plymouth Real Estate.
Do you have to have friends on Pinterest?
No, you can go through life without friends. Sorry. Do you have to have friends on Pinterest?
Yeah, I mean, do you have to be accepted by somebody?
Well, here's the funny thing.
I'm looking
Twitter.
at one of your pictures here.
Oh, geez, thank you. Is it good? No.
It is good, and it got
That's the-
pinned around. It says it was forwarded, and I
Perfect.
see where you got
There
your
you go.
Plymouth Michigan
And,
homes.
and there it is. So what's
Just
really
push once. It's a pin.
there you go. It's that easy. So the kicker is, if you're involved in Facebook,
Yeah.
when the only way you could get into Pinterest when it first came out is you had to be invited and you had to be a part of Facebook. They've opened it up since, but you still need a Facebook account, or you should have a
do?
Facebook account. You should, pardon me. Because then what Pinterest does is it looks at your Facebook account and says, oh, you got 900 friends? Well, 500 of them are already over here. Do you want to be connected? So you can automatically connect with 500 people like that. So yes, you can go searching the open and public boards to find people that pin things that are of interest to you, or maybe they align with your digital goals. But truly, you start with your Facebook friends and you kind of roll off of there.
So I wanted to make one statement. This Pinterest stuff is real. Take it seriously. I know it sounds stupid. Also, you need to do your interests. You'll get into that. For the month of February, Pinterest drove more traffic than Facebook.
Wow.
Keep in mind, they just pretty much started last year.
Yeah, towards the end of the last year, too.
More traffic than Facebook for the month of February. That's like a brick in the head. You
It's
know.
all images.
Yeah.
Now, Jeremy, you and I chatted about this, and I am still noodling over how I can pull this off. I will argue, and again, maybe this is inside baseball for y'all, but you're probably brighter than we are and I am as a real estate agent, so maybe you've already thought about this. Our MLS system as an agent is broken, flat out broken,
Oh yeah.
for a number of reasons. But the part that drives me up a wall is my consumers have to rely on me to interpret what it is they tell me they're searching for. But typically, we can ascertain what that is and set it up correctly and make it fly. But work with me here. What do you think if we could somehow or another create a visual MLS? It's kind of what I'm trying to do with my website. Is I'm trying to take images of homes that are roughly typical of homes in Plymouth, Michigan, and I want to create pages on my website that match. So if somebody comes to Plymouth and says, I want to buy a 4-bedroom, 2.5-bath colonial in Plymouth, what I need to do as an agent to meet that is I need to create a website, a page on my website that has images of typical 4-bedroom, 2.5-bath homes in Plymouth. So that in the Google rankings, when someone searches, or they search for Plymouth homes or colonial Plymouth homes for sale or Plymouth colonial homes for sale, my website pops up. When they click on it, they come to this site and look, hey, it's a colonial. And it's 4 bedrooms and 2.5, it looks like a 4.5. So I'm aiming for, like, I think Pinterest could easily be set up, at least in my industry, as a visual MLS. I've seen boards that are nothing but hardwood floors. People like hardwood floors and they want to show you, well, this is cherry and that's white oak, and this is white maple. People are driving eyeballs to their websites by highlighting simply hardwood floors. Well, holy smokes. I look at that and I say, if I can find a neighborhood that I know the builder exclusively used Brazilian cherry, I can have a website, a page on a website that has Brazilian cherry hardwood floor examples, pictures, throw them over onto Pinterest, and if somebody's looking for hardwood floors, not only is the authority created on Brazilian cherry hardwood floors because there's an image on Pinterest, but it's further backed up because people have gone from Pinterest to my website on Brazilian cherry hardwood floors.
Wouldn't you just tag all your photos as 4-bedroom colonial, and then it's always gonna go back to,
Again, a little pebble. You're absolutely correct. So again, when you get into the blogging, if you're doing blogging right now, one of the things I know I missed until recently was correctly doing pictures. In the last month and a half, I finally got my head around the fact that the alternate title, the alternate name field, specifically in WordPress, when you upload an image, needs to be filled out with your keywords. Don't stuff your keywords in there. Whatever your big one is, go for it. So mine is Plymouth MI Homes. So if I have an image of a home that's in Plymouth, guess what the alternate name is? Plymouth MI Homes. Guess what the name of the file is that I uploaded? Plymouth MI Homes with a number after it, or a description of the home itself. Because again,
Because that's your website?
it's Plymouth-MI-Homes. And it's not just the name of my website, it's also the set of keywords that I want. I still don't believe the domain was available last year. The heck was that all about? And it pulls, what, 4,800 searches a month, something along those lines? More than enough there for someone to survive on. So I'm going to do everything I can. I'm going to put as many of those pebbles on my credibility mountain as possible. That includes, you know, filing, naming, all those conventions. It's just one more thing along those lines. So when you start incorporating Pinterest, now you've got an image. The file name is PlymouthMIHomes.jpg. The tag for the image is PlymouthMIHomes. Whatever we're going to have. When it gets put over on Pinterest, it's connected to the URL, Plymouth MI Homes, and go figure the description might actually have Plymouth MI Homes in it somewhere as well on Pinterest.
Is the alt name a tag
Correct.
for the pictures? Okay.
Correct.
What did you say?
I'm sorry?
What did you say? What did you
Is
say?
the alt name the tag for the pictures? Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or the equivalent tags for a regular one.
That's absolutely correct. Yep. That's absolutely correct. So,
Sorry, Todd. Another thing I look at Todd. Nothing ever stays the same. When I started blogging, I typed only, and I gotta admit, I'm not the quickest person to change, which is why you need friends like Todd, who are constantly pushing the limit. Right now, I would venture to say that words are still fine, but it needs to be augmented with rich media, meaning pictures and video. And we're rapidly approaching the day where the word has, I'm not going to say zero value, but a picture and a video is far more compelling in a busy world. Yeah, it's worth just following him just to see what he's doing, because generally he's usually pushing the limits, figuring out what works and what doesn't work. Basically, he's our canary in the in the coal mine.
so if I keel over,
If it does, trust me, if it's not working for him, he's going to stop doing it, and kind of let him test it a little bit. And if he keeps doing it, it's probably worth your time to. Sorry, Todd.
No, Jeremy,
Pave the way for us, buddy.
No, I appreciate that, and frankly, the encouragement is huge. I appreciate hearing that. The one thing that Jeremy has done to me and challenged me with is to jump more on the video bandwagon. It's one thing that I have neglected. I can do it. It's fun. It for me is time intensive because I want it to be a certain way. I'm that guy. So, yeah, we've talked about hub and spokes. We've talked about Pinterest, Google Plus. Yeah, more traffic across a website equals greater credibility in the eyes of Google and search engines. So the short of it tonight, are Google Plus and Pinterest worth getting involved in? Yes. The qualifier is, what's your goal? If your goal is to somehow or another increase the business that you're doing online, then I would suggest that you need to at least be there. And if you're considering Twitter, Facebook, Google Plus, Pinterest, put Twitter over to the side for the time being. It's not a bad thing to play with, but it's really strange and it's hard to get used to. Facebook is great for connecting with the people that you already know. So again, I would encourage you, if you're not connected with each other in this room, on Facebook, connect with each other.
But you can link all of these together, right?
That's exactly it. So
I'm not on any of them, but it's
that's okay. And the way that I've linked them is on my hub. Remember we talked about the wheels and the hubs and the spokes? On my hub, on my blogs, I have those buttons right across the top of my blog post. I've got the tweet button, because if you like what I got to say, man, send it along.
Tweet it.
Exactly. If you really like it, man, hit the like button from your Facebook, because now all your friends will see some great content. And if there's a nice image in there and you want to share it, hit the Pinterest button. Google Plus, I'd love the authority. Thank you so much. So I've got those 4 buttons rolling on just about every page that it makes sense to have those things on. Are they linked in the sense that your Twitter stuff can flow to Facebook, then can flow? Let me, much like outsourcing my personality, I would highly recommend not doing that. Because you could have the ability, if you get really bonkers over on Twitter, you can blow up your Facebook stream. And you get people on Facebook ticked off, quite frankly, on what you're doing. They're like, I don't care. There's 2 different ecologies.
Oh, okay.
2 different ecologies.
Right.
Twitter is like a bar. You walk into the bar and it's loud, it's boisterous, and there's a little huddled conversation over here. It's like 3 or 4 people talking at each other. They're having a good old conversation, but there's all this other cacophony, all this other noise that surrounds it on Twitter. Facebook, it's for the people that you already know, or you've met somewhere along the lines. You're like, no, I want to follow up and see what's going on in that person's life. And it's another place to have a more, I don't want to say intimate, it's the wrong way to put it, but it's a much more personalized conversation with that individual. So if that's the ecology of Facebook, I'm trying to not blow that up. I'm trying not to mess that up. Google, I am still, quite frankly, trying to put my mind around exactly what that ecology is. Because there's part of it that feels a lot like Twitter. Because there's a lot of junk, quite frankly, flying around there if you're following too many people. But it also feels a lot like Facebook, even Facebook on steroids, because the conversations that do arise, oh my gosh. I don't know if you know who Chris Brogan is or Scott Stratton. These are two names that are gigantic in the social media realm. These are the guys that have literally written books on what they consider to be the prime ways to use these social media networks. Very much like, not Stephen Covey, but win friends and influence people.
Carnegie.
Carnegie, right. Very much like Carnegie. Carnegie understood networking. He understood this networking, the face-to-face. He did it very well and taught us very well. I would put Brogan and Stratton and Gary Vaynerchuk in the same realm, but online. So they're kind of setting the rules on how they see social media should, quote, properly be done. And so to be able to connect on Google Plus with those kinds of individuals and have actual conversations with them, wow, that it just shatters the barrier that might have existed. It was kind of neat. Pinterest, again, I'm still trying to get my mind around that thing as well. I just see it as flat out traffic across everything. And you can, yes, you can automate your Pinterest pins to Twitter and to Facebook, but again, be careful. Exactly, just be careful.
Let's branch out.
A branch out is of the devil.
I completely ignore it too. Just
yeah, there's a lot of applications that'll pop up in Facebook that.
No, people are sending them to me.
Because you're not on Facebook.
No, I am on Facebook.
Oh, really?
I started getting them too recently.
Right. They say they want to invite you to branch out. You know,
Yeah.
everybody.
Interesting. Are they people that are connected to you on Facebook, or is this?
Yes.
There are people on Facebook or people that I know from work.
Wow. Okay.
So
So I'm tighter than a duck's butt on that kind of stuff. I hate those kind of applications that ask me, or on their own, fire off invites to my friends. I despise that. And Branch Out early on was one of those that did just
What
that.
is it? And then I'll just.
It's supposed to be the Facebook equivalent of LinkedIn, except the application physically resides.
The Facebook
Sorry.
equivalent of LinkedIn.
I know. See, we've got LinkedIn already. Why do we need it again?
yeah, LinkedIn's bad enough. We don't need two.
Yeah, just don't bother with it. Yeah.
the buttons at the top of your blog post,
Yes.
like, is that one app? Or do you put those up there manually?
So again, I'm that nerd, so I put them in manually. If you're using WordPress,
Plugins.
you can get the plugins. You can get a plugin that has all those social networks, or you can get the official plugins. I put them at both. If you can pull it off, I put them at both, because what I'm finding is many people won't get to the bottom of a long post, which I can't blame them, because sometimes my wall of words sucks. So if they really like the first couple of paragraphs, I want them to have the ability to click the button up there. I also want them at the bottom, because dang, you get to the bottom of one of my long posts, come on, reward me, man.
We'll put you on the spot. Okay. In order of what you think is relevant,
Oh, good lord.
you're writing this thing in stone as of April 3rd, 2012. We'll say for at least the next 2 years.
Oh, jeez.
All right?
Can we
video
shorten that?
here.
No.
It's on video, I'm hosed.
It's all in video, so if you're right, I think you win like a keychain or
Do I
something.
win it light? Oh.
Yeah. Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, Tumblr, Pinterest, and Google Plus. Out of those 7,
Okay.
in order from most important to least important, how would you, as Mr. Todd Waller,
Yep.
social media
Nerd.
guru,
No, don't do that.
a nerd, how would you rank its relevance?
Okay, so help me with the networks, because I'm going to start and I'm going to do my top 5, and I know I'm going to blow out the last 2.
Okay.
So what I need to practice, what I'm not doing, is I need to be focusing on Google. So Google Plus, that would be number 1. I need to change my patterns to be more into Google Plus. Again, the benefits I see are the little pebbles of authority. We'll just put it to that. Number 2, I would say, is Facebook. I would say Facebook because, again, in walled garden terms, you know those people that you're connecting with. And again, who do we do business with? Those we like and trust, right? I want to do business with my past clients. I want to do business with my current clients, referrals. I want to do business with you guys. So if we're connected there, and that's where everybody seems to be going right now, it makes sense for that to be high on that list. Third, I would probably put Twitter, only because I'm addicted to it. Yeah, I've been kind of soft on it recently, but I'm reacquiring the taste. It's an absolute riot. Like I said, it's like a bar you walk into, conversations flying. It's fun to pick up on streams of thought and bounce around. It's good for blowing off steam, I will say that, but it's excellent for driving traffic as well. So if you've got a well-written, thought-out video, blog post, something along those lines, Twitter's a great way to get a whole bunch of eyeballs on it. Mentioning video, I'd say I'm up to 4. Number 4 would be YouTube. You cannot undervalue the number of words that go in a picture, right? Picture's worth 1,000 words. Yeah, if that thing moves, what do you got, 1 million words, something along those lines? Again, I need to do more of it myself. Video is awesome. I'm able to incorporate it right now in talking to clients to say, this is why you need to, I don't want to say avoid Trulia, Zillow, and Realtor.com, but you're not getting the freshest data. Here's why. I can deliver that with words on a blog page, or I can deliver that with my personality on a video. What do you think is going to get the point across?
Video.
I think video will. That's my
But I love your personality, so.
Well, my personality sucks. And one of the last 2 I've got there, I've got Tumblr and what was the other one?
You got 3. You got Tumblr, Pinterest, and LinkedIn.
LinkedIn. Jeez, LinkedIn's the last one.
Yeah, amen.
Yeah. It's a toss-up. I would put Pinterest number 5. Again, traffic. And again, I'm putting it 5th too because I really haven't done a lot to tinker with it and understand it and, if you will, rock it. But I think that because of the traffic, a little bit of effort on my part in there, and I will see even more increases in traffic. I think that's the way to go. And then Tumblr. Tumblr is unfortunately kind of like the redheaded stepchild of that group outside of LinkedIn. LinkedIn's just a weird beast. Tumblr's a redheaded stepchild only because I don't see the SEO benefit. I don't see the search engines picking up the stuff in Tumblr. I know you can tweak them, I know you can customize them and potentially make them go in that direction. I just haven't seen enough examples of that for me to say that's worth my effort to get involved in. But it is a neat channel to display.
Why do you feel LinkedIn's at the bottom of the pile?
It is a lot,
Or is it specifically for your business or an entrepreneur? Or?
This will all be in my context as a real estate agent.
Okay.
I have an online resume, that's why I've got LinkedIn. And unfortunately for me, I think, that's all I see it as, is an online resume place.
Okay.
People can check me out, they see what my accomplishments are and stuff like that, but they can't actually see who I am. It's much more static than the other networks. The other networks are extremely dynamic, constantly moving and in flux. Yeah, I know we got groups in LinkedIn, and you can hook in your Facebook feeds and your Twitter feeds, and you can do all that stuff, but I don't, if I'm doing them already over here, why do I need to blow up this channel with all that stuff?
Okay.
So, yeah. And as a real estate agent, I mean, really, who's going to look at my resume? They're more interested, people are more interested in what my record is, past history.
So what you're saying, if I'm hearing correctly, is LinkedIn is more along the lines for, people in corporate.
Bingo. Yep, that's exactly it.
That was my impression.
Don't get me wrong, as a real estate agent, it's a great research tool.
Mm-hmm.
I love being able to drop my prospects' names in there and say, oh, what is it exactly does this guy do? It's great to do research. So, does that answer the question?
The same on you.
It does. That's it.
No, it's exactly it. That's why it's important for me. For me, I need to have a giant digital footprint. If you search Todd Waller, I'm either a minor league baseball pitcher. No, actually made it to the majors. I think it's for the Baltimore Orioles. I'm an otolaryngologist who recently moved from Ohio to California. A real estate agent, an architect, or a professor at some university that was in Italy. Why the heck is a guy named Todd Waller in Italy? I don't get that one. But,
Okay,
so,
I saw him on there too.
Maybe he likes it.
well, let's put it this way. I married into an Italian family, so I get that.
Okay.
But I don't. So the reason I do that is I want to block those people out. I don't want my clients or potential clients to be able to search Todd Waller and find there's actually apparently there's a Todd Waller with a police record. There, we said it. It's not me. Somebody in West Virginia, I think.
There's a John Terrell who's a saint.
Not bad, man. I like that. See,
It may work for you.
I'd be optimizing that one.
Yeah.
So do we now call you St. John?
No.
Okay.
I didn't say it was me.
What about you just anything about
John
Facebook?
Burley.
I mean, not Facebook, MySpace.
Huh?
I'm joking. I'm joking.
That's fine, man. I'm sorry. Gotta let him go. The king's doing it. So, with that prediction, I'm now on the hook for 2 years. You said?
Hey, you know, I might let you go in a year. So much, it changes so fast. I just want it in stone, and I just wanted to get, you know, I differ a little bit, but you know, it's always interesting to see how different people do different things, and also to frame it for everybody else. You know, if you can only choose 3, you know, I would probably agree with your top 3. You know,
I appreciate
so
it. Again, this is all in the context of me trying to attract people to me and leverage my content.
yeah, the unfortunate part you're so right about is freaking Google Plus being #1. That's the part. It's like the depth charge out of my life. You know, boom.
Yep, yep. Right in the back there. Might be right up here, Brian.
So with Google Plus, do you use your name or your business name?
You're forced to use your name on Google Plus. They want who you are.
Yeah.
And then once you have that account set up with your name, you can then create business pages.
Nice.
So
Again,
then do you do most of your business through your business page? And
I haven't been as involved in Google Plus as I need to be. I will admit I've got 2 or 3, I can't remember, business pages that I've created. I simply wanted to block out the names. I wanted to secure them so nobody else could have them. Again, territorial. So I've got that stuff. Frankly, with the way my business goes with referrals, I'm not talking business a lot in the first place. I simply want people to know I got good information.
I'll call you one.
Come talk with me. I got good photos. Come talk with me. And and what I see happen is that drives a lot of people to kind of get drawn in. It's attraction marketing is the best way to describe it. I'm going to get to you after Brian.
Okay.
It's okay.
Oh.
Oh, no. This wasn't a choice that Jeremy threw up.
Oh, yeah.
7, but where do you put your website?
Oh no, that's mandatory.
#1.
Sorry,
Yeah, that is
Okay.
mandatory.
you can't do anything else with
Yeah,
that.
we're
Because I
stuck.
still see way too many people that are like not setting a website, and basically using Facebook as their complete online presence.
And you know, again, I'm not going to find fault with that if it's accomplishing exactly what they want. I just look at that mindset or that attack or that plan, and I say, that's great, but you're playing within somebody else's garden.
It's not yours.
It's free. Zuckerberg could say, screw you, I'm running with your data, and close the doors.
Or what if Facebook ends up like MySpace?
Yeah.
Which is
I doubt it, but nobody ever thought MySpace would like. I mean, it died a gruesome death.
Well, I
Is
think
it
they
gone?
killed it with the animated GIFs.
Yeah, that didn't help. That didn't help.
No, it didn't.
I got another tough question for you.
Bring it.
I've been toying around with an idea and I haven't done it. What do you think about getting rid of business pages and groups all together and just pouring your entire life as your name so everybody gets the entire you versus the strategy most people have been integrating, which is personal life here, business life here, hobbies here.
Sure.
What are your thoughts on that?
So really not a tough question, but I like it. It's against Facebook's terms of service for me as a real estate agent to pitch my listings. It's against their terms of service for me to pitch for business through my personal profile. Now, as a real estate agent connected with a whole bunch of other real estate agents, I see numbnuts in my own industry violate that, like 3 times a day, 10 times a day. I've got this listing, I'm taking buyers, I'm doing this. Nobody well cares. So
Well, let me refine. I never solicit a sale
No.
anywhere online. Period. So for me, that wouldn't be. I never say I have this house for sale. Let me know if you're interested. I never do that.
I
So
still think that's a very important distinction, though, to throw out there because
Okay.
the business pages specifically were meant for that.
All right.
And so, because what it does is it forces people who want that information, who want to know about that brand,
That's a good point.
to
That's a
opt
good point.
into it. Whereas if they're connected to them, you're ramrodding your information down their throat.
That's true.
Really? Do you do that in person?
A lot of people would answer yes to that. Actually,
I was just saying
that person, you know.
I'm not that guy.
No.
I'm not going to ramrod what it is that I'm doing down your throat simply because we're connected on some social network. I don't do that here. This isn't the place, it's not the time, and if you've got a need for my service, I simply want you to know that this is what I do. So you'll see me commenting about real estate, but you're not going to hear a heck of a lot of me saying, I sold this, and I'm working with that buyer. I had a really neat instance last night that is one of the few exceptions that I make to that rule. A year ago, I helped a gentleman purchase a home up in Clarkston. Beautiful. And over the weekend, he celebrated his year anniversary of buying that home. It wasn't a small home, and the way he celebrated it was on the day of his 1 year anniversary of purchasing that home, he uploaded about 60 to 75 images to Facebook and called it Virtual Open House. And the album tag, if you will, the description was, I just want you to see, this is with his friends, I just wanted you to see the home a year later. And what he did in there, and this was, I'm still floored by this, he said, my realtor, Todd Waller, did this and tagged me on Facebook. So all of his friends, all 300 of them, know that I helped him secure that property. And then he had some nice kind words to say about it. I was absolutely floored by that last night at about 10:30, 11 o'clock. And I made one simple comment on my Facebook wall as an update. It said, humbling. A client is celebrating a year anniversary in their home and took it upon themselves to say nice, kind words about yours truly as their agent. Job satisfaction. And the explosion of comments and likes off of that, it's one of the more liked posts that I've thrown out. Okay, my wife's picture actually blew that up today. It's one of the more liked and active posts that I've had in quite a long time. It was not me tooting my horn necessarily about getting this guy into this beautiful home and getting him a sweet deal. I would be within my rights to say that, I suppose, but isn't that in a roundabout sort of, no, in a direct way, tooting my horn and my abilities? Do I need to do that? I'll let him do that. I just want to thank him for being so kind to me. So that's the exception that I make to integrating personal and business and stuff like that. I still think, again, if we have the opportunity to connect in person here or any time in real life, you're going to see not just the business side and the social media side of what I do, but you're going to hear about my family life. My family's huge in my life. They craft and mold what it is that I've become and where I'm going. So you're not going to get me separating out my business and my family life and my personal life. Sorry. It adds to the authenticity and the truthiness, I guess is the right term.
But would you get rid of your business pages and just go?
No, because there are clients that expect that social media push. They expect me to push their listings out there somewhere. And so they can do that on their own through the website and hitting the Facebook like button. And for me as an agent, it's much more powerful, carries a lot more social proof weight if they do it as opposed to me. But there are some that say,
that's a good point. That's a good
we want
point.
you to push that out. Okay, that's fine. We'll push it, but it's going to go through the Facebook page where it's expected that this kind of stuff is going to come out. So, I don't know if I've run long or if I'm going off the mouth.
I don't know. It's good stuff. Nobody's asleep yet. That's a good sign.
Cool.
Any other questions?
I was going to say, are there further questions?
I would like to throw in my 2 cents again about Pinterest. It may not seem to make any sense, but how many of you have a hobby or something that you're absolutely fascinated with, and I would say borderline or obsessive about? Right? Right? I think just about all of us could say that.
Yeah, I know that's.
Right. That's me. I am. So if you're passionate about dog rescue, gardening, fishing, I mean, like you said, the wood floors, I'm not, other people are. That's what, I thought it was stupid as a bunch of quilting patterns. Then I got in with a bunch of dog people. Then I got in with a bunch of pit bull people. And it was all freaking over after that. It allows you to connect with the other psychotic you out there.
Wow.
I don't know if that's a good thing or not.
Wow.
Yeah, there's it's as insane as you can an obsessive. For instance, I just did a video today on grilling, and it's gonna just make people laugh. The amount of thought I put into grilling a 5-ounce wing is pretty ridiculous, but
somebody's gonna love it.
There's people out there just like that who are just obsessive, or I think a lot of people can more relate via TV shows that I don't watch, where you just got to talk about it. I mean, that's where Pinterest for me you know, once you get past the noise and you start to hone in on the people who have the same things wrong with them that you do, then you know, a community and traffic is born. And quite frankly, Todd really hit on that. You're more likely to do business with somebody who shares some